very thankful, want to express that as well. So it was a good event, a lot of fun by everybody. We followed up a middle school dance the following Wednesday in the NPR. Entirely different. A lot of kids just kicking a balloon in the air. Not a lot of dancing initially, but they warmed up to each other and got some dancing in too. We made over $500 for their middle school student council. Mrs. Schofield, Mr. Savani, he helped out with prom as well. Did a great job along with Francine from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department. She supported prom, so thanks to all those people. Academic Olympics has happened since last time we met. We had a middle school team, 2 teams go to MSU Bozeman and compete. The A team showed up in Van and scored in the top 10 out of 46 teams in the high school. Finished in the top 12 out of 35 schools. So that is led by Miss Wirt and Mrs. Royce. ACT Incentive Ski Trip to Discovery was a success. Again, we wanted a huge thanks to the Golden Sunlight Mine. This is for the class last year for them exceeding the state average with their score. It's all expense paid trip for them, sponsored by the Golden Sunlight Mine. So we really appreciate them for doing that. We do have the ACT coming up on April 8th. Third quarter ends tomorrow, which is a big deal. Cannot believe there's only a quarter left of school. Spring sports have begun, as people are aware, so there's snow on the ground to help out with that situation. But we're rolling with that real good. State FFA begins this week in Bozeman. I'll be going Friday. They started an administrative day just to inform and educate us about all the good things with FFA. So I'm excited. I'm excited for our team to go down. They've been working really hard. I was down there today. There's some kids practicing for poultry competitions, so excited for those kids. Upcoming Jitters concert, Pops concert, will be coming up in the next few weeks. We do have to, within the next month, have some board members. Traditionally, we have board members help out with graduation for handing out diplomas, so put that on your radar and speak amongst yourself and see who that might be. Big changes for next year. First year I was here, we were on the block, and we shifted from the block to a traditional 8-period day. Then we moved from that to the 4-day school week. My recommendation is to move it to a 7-period schedule starting next year for the middle school and the high school. On the back of this sheet of paper that I gave you, have a list of pros with that. So I'd like you guys to kind of take a look. There's a lot of advantages to going to a 7-period schedule. This is the mindset behind it from a learning perspective. I have ran this by our staff as well with strong support for moving to a 7-period day. There are a lot of positives. That is the majority of schools in Montana. It actually puts us back into alignment with what our school district's policies and handbooks were originally built for, a 24-credit diploma. Today, with an 8-period, and one of the layovers for COVID is the acquisition of credits. Makes it to where your senior year, you don't really need too much. That's not actually on this list. I try to go for more academic reasons as well. You increase your time with content level instructors. From a teaching perspective, you have a less period to prep for, which in our field, every period that you have to prep is another group of students. It's another instructional period. It's a considerable amount of work. Improved instructional quality, more of a quality over quantity approach. At one time, one of the arguments against something like this, anytime you lose a period in a schedule, you're losing an offering. Today, I can say that what's changed within just the last couple of years with our online component, dual credit, agreements with Helena College, U of M Western, Montana Tech, or Highlands, a lot of kids doing those things. I see high school fundamentally changing each year. We've been pretty progressive with that in Whitehall, those juniors and seniors taking advantage of those dual credit type offerings. So this is something I wanted to share with you guys. It is already in draft, shared with Mr. Koenig. We're still working out some details. Besides the 7-period, which is a structural change, a curriculum change. Currently, our English offerings are just grade level, 9, 10, 11, 12. What is very common in a lot of high schools is your junior and senior year, you have more high-level electives. For example, creative writing, poetry, mythology, things of that nature. So I met with our English teacher about this, and I'm excited about this and looking at some things that we can do. So we're going to next year offer the plan as a creative writing first semester. It'll be open to juniors and seniors. You can take that and then what we want to do is get more kids involved in those classes and things that don't lend themselves as good to online instruction. If you want to take a technical writing, you can. You want to take a college writing, you can. With poetry, there's a great competition in Montana called Poetry Out Loud, cowboy poetry. It's those types of the art side of English language arts that aren't as easily duplicated in an online format, and offering some more of that in our high school. So those are some big curriculum things. If there's any questions, I'll gladly talk about them. It's been busy. It's good. It's exciting to be a Trojan.
Thank you.
Oh shoot! One last thing. One of the most exciting things is in interviews, and I'm sure Ms. Neeson's going to get to this a little bit later on the agenda. We do have 2 exciting hires for our open positions, and I can speak to them a little later on the agenda.
Superintendent report.
All right, a brief update on facilities. So we have, this is the 3rd board meeting in a row I've talked about the boiler in the elementary. That's our boiler number 1, our primary boiler. It is not currently running, hasn't been since it started leaking. We explored whether we could get it fixed, order the parts to fix it. Those are no longer available. That is out as an option. So now we have to replace the boiler. It is a mechanical boiler. Thankfully, that makes it cheaper than the boilers that we replaced in the elementary. You may remember that from like 3 or 4 years ago. Those were quite expensive. I think they were like $150,000 a piece. The quote from McKinstry is for $75,000, and that includes installation, all the work. We actually have to take out part of the wall to get the boiler and the old boiler out and the new boiler in. And that is just off our TIA where that's located. So it has to be done, and we will be looking to do that this summer. Along with that, we are replacing the soft water tanks in the elementary, which have reached end of life. That's about $5,000. That's a separate project, and that will occur now. So, but those are the big main facilities things on the horizon at this time for this summer. Regarding negotiations, just to give a brief update, Laura and Aaron and I met, and we have sent thoughts to the union. We're kind of in a holding pattern right now, both sides, just because we're waiting for House Bill 252 to actually pass the legislature. That's the STARS Act. It did pass the House. It was transmitted to the Senate and is currently sitting in the Senate Cultural Resources and Education Committee, where nothing has occurred. The reason for this is it is being used as leverage for the property tax bill that the governor would like to pass. There's some different subgroups in the legislature who are indicating they won't move any legislation forward until that property tax bill is resolved. So it's not that it is expected not to pass, it's just stalled. So that they have until mid-May to figure things out. So basically the longer the stall goes on, the longer we kind of remain in a holding pattern. We do have a pay matrix worked up. Should that pass, it's ready to go. And we're hopeful that it will proceed forward and we can, by next May board meeting, potentially be resolving all of that. But we'll see, and we're kind of waiting for more information at this time. So that is where we're at.
All right, thank you. Any questions? All right, let's move on to old business. The strategic plan draft, review only.
Okay. So on your iPad, you have that plan review. All of you participated in some fashion in one or more of the strategic plan components. So the first 2 pages are the facilities and maintenance. Goes over the goal, the current status, the strategies and projects. If you haven't had a chance to look that over in great detail, I encourage you to look it over the next month, because we will ask you to vote on this. This is just a review only. The pages 3 and 4 are the school health and safety. Again, goal, current status, the strategies. Then we move to technology, which again, is the next 2 pages. This was a tough one because technology is changing so rapidly with AI. And of course, we don't know what's going to happen to E-rate either. So this is one that could potentially in 3 years be obsolete almost immediately. And we know that, so we'll have to kind of treat that as a living document. K-5 curriculum is next. And that was driven by Curtis along with the teachers and board members on his team. And then the last one you have there is the 6-12 curriculum, which again, following the same format. So you have a roughly 10-page document, and if you'll kind of read that over, make sure you don't feel like we're missing anything important or that we've included something that you're not comfortable with. The next month to look at that. We'll ask for final feedback when we look at it again in May.
All right, does anybody have any questions?
Or anyone want to comment about their part of the process? All right.
Pretty simple. All right, on to new business. Hire 2025-2026 certified teaching staff.
Okay, so if you go to the list of teachers, it is our current staff that is returning next year, so our current teachers that are returning next year, with the addition of the 2 new hires, which are Carrie Craigie and Jonathan Longden, and you indicated you wanted to speak to them, Jason?
I absolutely would. So Carrie Craigie has worked for us in several capacities the last 3 years as an aide, as a fill-in teacher. She's done so many things for us, and she does everything at a high level. She does a really, really good job. I've always been impressed by her. When I found out she was throwing her name in the hat for the SPED position, I could be more excited to have her on the team. We're still doing some discussion as an admin team how to best use her in special education, but she's going to be great. She's really, really solid hire. Second one, Jonathan Longden. He's a gentleman from Poplar, grew up in Poplar, went to school and got a degree in science, and then ended up teaching in Brockton, and then getting married and coming back to Bozeman, and then wants to get back in the classroom. He's spent the last 5-6 years in the tech industry, and then through a startup and some changes in that, I wanted to get back in the classroom. His wife's a teacher in Bozeman. Very excited to be, they don't want to be right in Bozeman. And there's a lot of things that you get, not necessarily just inside the interview, but he happens to be certified in science, math, has a big tech background, and actually is also licensed to teach a tech class. I really look for people to be teachers first, subject second. I just spoke with him today, and his willingness just to be a great team member out of the gate, is really, really exciting. I mean, he's excited to come on board, teach math, science, or a tech class, wherever he can best fit in here in Whitehall. So to get those 2 teachers knocked down, very excited. So that's
Awesome. All right, this is a motion needed item.
I move to hire for 25-26 certified teaching staff as listed.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, rehire elementary principal Curtis Koenig.
Yes, so the recommendation, of course, is to rehire Curtis Koenig. He's done an excellent job. He will be entering his 8th year in our district next year. So he's been with us for quite a while, has grown as a leader. He's certainly improved the performance of the elementary. I think we're in very solid shape there, thanks to his leadership of his staff and also his work with students and parents. So I would encourage you to rehire elementary principal Curtis Koenig. That's an elementary only action item, so just the 3 of you can vote.
I move to rehire Curtis Koenig as elementary principal.
I will second that.
All right, seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, rehire 6 through 12 principal Jason Slater.
Again, I would recommend that you rehire Principal Slater. He's done a great job as well in the 6-12. We are constantly innovating at that level and shifting with the changing times. There's been a lot of updates since I left that position, since Ms. Robbins left that position, just over the past several years. There's a lot of flexibility and innovation that has come into the 612, and he's done a good job of leading his staff through that and opening up a lot of opportunities for students, which, you know, it's just how education is changing, like it or not, but we are on the cutting edge of that. And I think that's to the benefit of our community and our students. And I would recommend that you rehire Principal Jason Slater.
I moved to rehire Mr. Slater. Next up.
I second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much, guys. It's an honor.
Thank you. All right, moving on to reviewing the audit report.
Okay, so on your iPad is the final year-end audit report for the fiscal year of 2024. It is, this is the independent auditor's report. They come in and audit all of our financial records and create this 100-page document outlining how they've gone through with fine-tooth comb all of our finances and the fiscal position we can in, and basically also the work of Alyssa and Jason and I, Jason Silvani and I. On page 86 is the summary document. It's very buried in there, but this is the summary of the auditor's results, and we received, and this is the highest level you can get, an unmodified auditor's report, which means there is no findings whatsoever, and we are in compliance with all of our financial statements as well as our federal awards. Because we receive over $750,000 a year in federal funding, we have to do a federal audit as well. So it's like a double audit, but we are unmodified on both. So it's a big thank you to Alyssa for doing a great job with our finances. Because without a good clerk, you don't get results like this. So all the credit should really go to Alyssa, and thank you for your hard work.
Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you.
Riveting.
All right. Moving on to the school board election update.
Okay, I'm gonna pull this up on my phone because this got sent roughly an hour ago. Because originally I was gonna be telling you that the state was still working on updating our election boundaries. But as of an hour ago, I received an email at 4:58 that said, today the new school district boundaries were resolved into total address within Elect Montana, and all is finally complete. All 15 voters now show up in their correct school district when you look at them in Elect Montana. It is completely done, and that came from Paula McKenzie, the Madison County Clerk and Recorder of Elections. So, as you may recall, we had 15 voters who voted in the Cardwell district last year who actually reside in the Whitehall Elementary District, pay taxes in the Whitehall Elementary District. So for whatever reason, the election system did not match the actual school boundaries. This has been a year of discussion in the making, and it's finally fixed. So that is the good news. We don't have to worry anymore about that for any future elections. So, in May, we will be declaring Janelle's seat vacant. She's decided not to rerun for the school board. We are sincerely appreciative of your service, Janelle. She will be with us for one more meeting, and then she will be off the board. So at that time in May, after her last meeting, we will declare that seat vacant, and then open it up for position appointments and fill the position for 1 year.
Thank you for being on board.
Everybody's good.
All right. Moving on to approving claims and accounts. We got elementary motion.
I move to approve the claims and accounts for the elementary.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. High school.
I move to approve the high school claims and accounts.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. I move to adjourn.
Second.
I can't move to adjourn. Somebody else moves to adjourn.
I was like, okay.
Oh, heavy-handed there, sorry about
I don't even know.
that. All right, all in favor? Motion passes.
I was just
Sorry
gonna
about that.
I was just gonna let it fly. I'm like, all right, fine. Sorry, what?
Hey, Alyssa,